Conor is a perfect example of a guy who takes the opportunity, not even the best. He's a great fighter, but he's one of the best on the microphone and has become a household name, the highest paid fighter in the UFC. What do you think right now about Conor? Number one, about his performance against Nate Diaz. I want to hear your opinion on that.
He fought very well. He has very good hands. He's a lefty, very dangerous. You know, Nate can take a beating, and he was able to put a lot of strikes in it, you know. Definitely if you see the face of both of them in the end of the fight,
yeah,
you know, you can't argue who won the match. You know, one was completely blooded. The other one was almost clean.
Do you think that they should take that into consideration when they're scoring? Because they don't.
That is damage. I think they have.
I believe in the UFC rules they're not supposed to. I know in Pride damage was one of the determining factors.
Like damage, I think damage strikes or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a fine line because someone like Frankie Edgar, he has so much like scar tissue under his face that if you like graze his face with your palm, he cuts open and starts bleeding.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to take it with a grain of
both
salt.
of those guys have crazy scar tissue.
Blood is just a little bit of pride pouring out. Yeah. So it's like a fight shouldn't be measured by blood, especially because if you have a cut in your head or it bleeds much more than then actually. I think they should improve the judgment in many of the fights, especially on the grappling aspect. Right now, you're seeing almost boxing matches with now and then a takedown, but you start seeing guys like Damian Maia and what he did on his last fights, applying jiu-jitsu, and it's difficult for judges to judge because they don't know about grappling, they don't know well about takedown.
Well, here's the thing, even if you're a huge fan of it, like if you're not actually, I think it's easy to look at guys who are punching and kicking each other and going, okay, that guy's winning. But if you don't know grappling and the intricacies of the positioning, and
it's so complex that if you don't have a full knowledge of the art, it's difficult for you to judge.
It could seem like a stalemate, but there might be one guy that's definitely getting the better of the other opponent on the ground.
I was commentating a WSOF fight, and the guy shot in and he's grabbing, and the guy next to me who was commentating too, he goes, oh, he got the shot in, he's gonna take him down. I say, actually no, the guy's gonna take him down now, watch. And the guy took him down. And everybody was surprised. I say he was completely out of balance, but he couldn't see that because he's a sports commentator but not a fighter, you know. And he was surprised when actually happened what I said, you know.
Well, so with Conor, what do you think's next for him? Because there's so many rumors about what he's going to do. 155-pound title. Should he go back down and fight Jose Aldo at 145? You know, should he maybe?
I honestly think Jose Aldo deserved
Agreed.
A rematch. You know, it was the first time that I saw Jose Aldo actually rushing his opponent. You know, like with completely disrespect. He never did that before. You look now his last fight against Frank Edgar, how composed and how defensive and patient he was, you know.
That was actually some people were kind of critical against his performance against Frankie. I was like, that was like the best Jose we've seen.
Yes, definitely. You can't play with Frank, otherwise you lose.
Yeah, for Frankie, I mean, dude.
It's a different ball game, and he's able to keep the pressure from the first round to the last one. Or if you don't play smart, you're going to get your butt kicked. But
it's kind of funny because we're talking about Conor not necessarily being the absolute best fighter in the world. He's great, obviously, but he's the highest paid. Jose Aldo, I feel like, is the opposite of that because for a while, I think everyone considered Jose Aldo number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Yeah, he's an extremely tough guy, difficult to do anything on him.
Yeah.
If you look his fights, everybody goes through hell.
But he was a guy who had a trouble garnering fanfare, you know, and, you know, and I'm sure you could speak on this, being from Brazil.
Yeah, it was funny. We did a show together in Brazil during the UFC, the first UFC in Brazil, and they introduced us to the public. It was me and him. And when we walk in, everybody clapped to him when we walk in.
Yeah.
And I was the older guy, different generation, so they were like, oh. Yeah. We sat down. We spoke there to them for like 2 hours, you know. On the end, all the questions was just for me.
Yeah.
And when we left, I was the one that everybody clapped. Because you have to understand, it's like you need the whole package. You can be just a good fighter who doesn't know how to open your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, you have to know how to sell it. You have to know how to gain people's heart and confidence to trust, to support you.
Well, people buy into the story, and if you can't tell your story, how are you going to have any sort of emotional connection?
Definitely,
and this is why we see the UFC. They put millions of dollars into production with these packages where they show these fighters at their parents' house and the way they grew up, and they like to unravel this whole story because, look, we're fight fans. We'll watch any fight.
Yes.
But the general public,
they need this connection.
They
Definitely.
need the connection.
Yes,
they need it. And Jose Aldo, I think his story now is almost... He was the most dominant fighter ever. Came from the WEC with that title.
They just did a movie about him in Brazil.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
And I think was the biggest mistake they did in Portuguese. So
wow.
We're going to have to see it with subtitles here in America.
I would love to see that,
I heard
though.
the movie was unbelievable. It was a brilliant,
he has an
beautiful
amazing
job.
story.
Definitely.
But I think it's what's tough, for fighters that English isn't their first language or never learn English. It's an American company at the end of the day, and that's how they
and you
promote
actually,
it.
where is the biggest market? Why did I move here when I was 27 years old? Because I knew this was the market, and I knew I need to learn the language. I would ride the train from Jersey to New York every day with a book in my hand and a dictionary on the other, and I would translate the whole book on the beginning.
Wow.
And by the end, I remember if I had just one word per page that I didn't know it, I was extremely happy, so I was able to learn English and improve my English that way. And I knew, because to attend this market and to be here sitting down talking to you guys, the quality of my English should be decent, so I don't understand guys who become champions of this sport where the major fights are in America and they don't speak the language.